Right.
Hi,
then.
I'm Office Bloke Dave.
That's not what I was going to say.
Was it not?
No, you killed it. You absolutely destroyed it.
Well, good. I interrupted you like you always interrupt
No,
me.
I don't.
I am the one who
That's
interrupts
bang out of order. I never interrupt you.
I always interrupt him.
Right then, guys, it is time. The time is finally here. The time that everyone has been asking for in the comment section for Bill Burr, Epidemic of Gold Digging. It's early in the video. We've got to be careful what we say.
I know, yeah.
Loads and loads and loads and loads of you said that you want There Is No Reason to Hit a Woman.
Yes. And I am so up for it because I really enjoyed him. I didn't know what I was expecting. And like I said, in the beginning, there was a couple of points I was like, did you just really say that? But it's like you said, like he is that guy where he says it and you're like, oh, mate. And then he sort of explains it and you're like, yeah, all right, yeah.
The closer I get to 40, I mean, I've always loved Bill Burr, like for 10 years now probably. But the closer I get to 40, when I hear his proper rants, I'm like, I'm feeling it. Because the amount of times I'm stood in public. Like, I said this earlier today, over at the Office Blokes, we reacted to something from Bill Burr's live podcast that he did recently.
Right.
And I talked about how on Friday I went to see Mark Normand on my own because of childcare sort of issues. Ash stayed at home and looked after the kids.
It just sort of the weekend swapped and we had the kids.
Yeah.
I couldn't let Dave miss out on it, even though it was meant for both of us.
Yeah.
You couldn't miss out on
I've
that.
never felt so much like Bill Burr in my life because I'm just stood in the queue, just the inner monologue about people that were walking past and... Anyway.
Students and youngsters. And now I understand, like, you know, when you're a teenager and your parents say things and you're like, I'm never going to be like that and that. And I go there, in my day. But we've become that.
I understand when adults say to you when you're a teenager, you know nothing.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I figured the world out.
I know everything.
Yeah,
like my dad said my favourite phrase was, I know.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
I knew nothing.
Right then, we're going to get into it. There is no reason to hit a woman, right?
I mean, unless she comes out with you with a weapon. She came out, with me with a bottle.
Who?
It's a reference from In Bruges.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, no, where he punches her in the face. Yeah. My dad always said you're not allowed to hit a woman unless she's got a weapon or she knows karate.
But that's what In Bruges said. That's what
he doesn't say karate, does he?
He does.
Does he?
He says like a martial arts, but it's from In Bruges. And then like Chloe is like, you punched her, and he's like, she came at me with a bottle. You just pop. If you haven't seen In Bruges, see it. Best film.
Are you ready?
Yes.
There is no reason to hit a woman, Bill Burr.
Okay.
Let's do it.
One time she was watching this show, it was like a poor excuse for The View, and they started talking about domestic violence, right? For the 9 millionth time this year, they're talking about domestic violence, just in case, you didn't get the memo, Evidently, just some people didn't get it. It's not okay to slam your wife's head into the cupboard drawers because she didn't dry the can opener off properly, It's gonna fucking rust, right? How do you not know not to do that shit? Do they really have to keep talking about it? It's like wife beaters watching. Oh, fuck! Now I get it. Upset daisy, sweetheart. Here we go. There you go. Oh. So at the end of the hour, they come to the logical conclusion. They're like, there is no reason to hit a woman. There is no reason to hit a woman. And I was just like, really? I could give you like 17 right off the top of my head. You could wake me from a drunken stupor, I could still give you like 9. Dude, there's plenty of reasons to hit a woman. You just don't do it. But to sit there and suggest that there's no reason. Dude, the level of ego behind that statement. What are you, levitating above the rest of us? You're never annoying? Women, how many times have you thought about slapping your fucking guy in the head this week? There you go. Every day. You didn't do it, right? Oh, dude, it drives me nuts. There's no reason. There's no reason. Really? No reason? How about this? You marry a girl, you fall in love, you buy her a house. You go to work every day paying off the house. You come home one day, she's banging the next door neighbor, hands you divorce papers. You got to move out, sleep on a futon, and still pay for that house that she's going to stay in. No reason. I'm not saying you should do it, but there's plenty of fucking reasons in that arc of a story. No, that's the thing.
We've got to throw in the odd pause. I could just watch this.
I know. See, he's building. Like I struggled the last time with him. He's an unusual guy with the comedy. Like he builds into the story a bit, because in the beginning you're still like, oh mate, like
he gets you with shock statement, and you go, no way,
God.
and then he backtracks and builds it back
builds
up to
it back
the point
up.
where
He's a
you
proper
fully agree with
storytelling.
him
Yeah,
by the end of it.
And then you laugh crying. So I'm not quite there yet. There is points that's a little bit funny, like when he said, you know, how many times have you thought about smacking your fellow? And it was just like, yeah, we've all been through that. We've all had those moments.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing. Really is. That's the thing. I hate that saying there's no reason. Obviously, I'm not saying to hit a woman, you know. But saying there's no reason, I think that's crazy. When you say there's no reason, that kills any sort of examination as to how two people ended up at that place. If you say there's no reason, whew, you cut out the build-up, you're just left with the act. How are you going to solve it if you don't figure it out? Look how awkward it is in here right now. I said you shouldn't hit a woman. I'm just saying, how come you can't ask questions? You can only ask questions about what the guy did. You can never ask about the woman. Why is that?
Yeah.
Why is that? What is that? What does answer him right mean? What does that mean? Are you the idiot who got up halfway through the special during the bit and you're like walking around like I'm not fucking taping a special here? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Fucking had to ignore all of that, and now you're gonna like yell out? And not only that, yell something that makes no fucking sense whatsoever? Answer him! Answer him! Every fucking special I do, there's always one. Always right down the fucking middle. Talking about hitting women, sweetheart. And I think you just added another reason. Jesus fucking Christ. I love this. I'm not even in a relationship with her, and she's fucking nagging me. Fucking unbelievable. Look, I understand hitting a woman's a bad thing, okay? Well, how come you can't fucking ask questions? I just don't understand. Like, if I get bit by a rattlesnake, wouldn't you guys have some questions? Right? How did it happen? Did you not see it? Were you fucking with it? How did this snake get so mad it almost killed you? Firemen put out a fire, they don't just drive away afterwards, they sift through the debris. How did it start? Here's an oily rag, right? Look, I realize I'm coming off pretty ignorant right about now. I realize that. Let me extend an olive branch then, okay? I realize that there's some animal guys out there, okay? Horrible guys, you know, have a rough day at the factory, come home, tuna casserole, and just start swinging, all right? I'm not trying to say that those people don't exist. I realize they exist. They should be buried underneath the prison, okay? So if I can admit that, ladies, can you at least admit that every ass kicking doesn't just fall out of the fucking sky? Really? Even hockey has 2 minutes for instigating, right? They understand that some back and forth happened before that shit, you know? You know what it is every case is handled like that Rihanna one, where they just say, the guy's a piece of shit, fuck this guy, blah, 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 send him to jail, and then they never ask anything about that. You know, I'm not saying he should have done it, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying, dude, in your heart of hearts, what do you think was going down before that happened? You think she was just sitting there going, oh my God, Baskin Robbins, you want to get some ice cream? You know? Or do you think maybe they were having some epic end of the relationship fight and some crazy shit was being said? Maybe she was screaming in his ear some crazy female shit like, oh, fuck all your friends, I don't give a fuck! Maybe that's why I sell more albums than you, motherfucker! Right? To be fair, she could have just been sitting there going, I need a tissue. Do you keep those in the glove box? Oh my God, I'll bring my out! I'll bring my out! Now, fuck that, because you know what it is? They never address how women argue, which I think is a core of a lot of that shit. You know? And I gotta tell you something, man. Like, I never knew how women argued. But after 20 years of losing every significant battle in a relationship. I finally figured out how they argued. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm starting to turn this franchise around. I have begun a winning tradition. This is how they argue, as far as I can tell. All right? If they're right, they argue the point. And they stay on point and make sure you stay on point until you're down on your knees, apologizing, begging for forgiveness. All right? No problem with that. Totally respect it. But here's the thing. If they're wrong, they go rogue. They go off-road. They start thinking of shit you're sensitive about. Maybe you don't get along with your dad. And in their head, they just start concocting this evil statement. Totally designed, this desperate Hail Mary attempt to make you so fucking mad, you just call them a cunt. That's what it is. And cunt trumps all the bullshit they did to start the argument. Now it's not about that. Well, that's no reason to call me a cunt. And then that's it. You're in this room now, right?
It's not wrong, is it? We're pretty much at the end now, actually. I shouldn't have paused it there.
The argument. Now it's not about that. Well, that's no reason to call me a cunt. And then that's it. You're in this room now, right? And they won't hook up with you for a couple of days. Who cares? Who cares? You rub one out. Rub one out like a man. It's the champagne of victory.
Oh my God. I could probably recite that word for word, you know. The whole thing. Rub one out like a man. It's the champagne of victory. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I know you and I have this thing about you can't be offended, and I'm not offended. I don't.
You know it's jokes, don't you?
I do know it's jokes. It's just hard sometimes with personal history and stuff and some of the comments.
I get that. I felt it when he was talking about the guy losing his house and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I get it. I don't know. Like, even the crowd wasn't laughing as hard as, like...
They were...
The gold digger. It made... let's just say I struggled with this one a little bit.
Right. You were definitely laughing.
There was points I definitely laughed.
Go back and look and watch. You were
definitely
laughing.
I definitely laughed. There was I can't remember which point it was, but he made a really valid point, and it did make me laugh a lot. But there was always these little bits. It was just like, mate.
I think the thing is, a lot of what Bill Burr does is, when he's ranting especially, is that absurd. It's funny. And you know what I think it's like sometimes is, you know the movie Hot Fuzz?
Yes.
Do you know where he fly kicks the granny in the face?
That's funny though.
It's one of the funniest things that happens in that movie, which is a great movie.
It's a great movie.
But it is so wrong to see a grown man fly kick a granny in the face.
She pulls out a shotgun.
No, I know, but the
It's
visual
different.
of it's so shocking, and it's so like you just can't do that, and it makes it so funny. He teeters on that line. He's on the edge of that all the time.
I get that.
And he fly kicks the granny in the face sometimes, and the crowd go, "No way, no!" But then he kind of works it back a little bit.
I wasn't sure he worked it back for me. Maybe I got too hung up on certain comments.
I think you possibly, because I saw your face there. I was watching. There was a couple of comments which I know, like you said, with given history and stuff, you're a bit like, you kind of winced a bit when he said them, and I get that.
Yeah. But
as he said multiple times there, these guys deserve to be buried under the prison.
Yes, I get that. And there is points that I've some of my female friends, when they've explained how they've like bullied their fella because he's on the Xbox all the time and he never spends time with me, so I did this and I did that.
Yeah.
And I get like what he's saying, like, you know, there's not a reason, like I get it to hit a woman.
He's not saying hit women.
I think
he's just saying you're not floating on a cloud above the rest of us.
No, I know, and that part was those parts that I found funny. But it was when he kept going back to like talking about like the Rihanna thing and stuff. Like, I don't know. There was little bits that was just like.
When I saw you wince a little bit and look displeased was when he was acting out the domestic violence. Like when he hit the microphone against him and pretended to be Rihanna. I saw your face when that happened.
Like I said, there's some personal history.
I
don't know. Maybe it's a little close to the bone for me.
That's fine. Well, there's plenty more Bill Burr to go at, but that's like, there's probably like, I mean, there's so many iconic bits, it's unbelievable. but that's definitely one of the big ones.
I don't know, maybe everyone's expecting me to chortle as much as I did in the last one. Like the last one I totally got and I found hilarious and I agreed with everything. But I think there was just little bits that was just like, oh mate, it feels like you're digging a hole a little bit. Like if he'd...
That's his comedy though. It's like just dig deeper. You know, like, which I've been that guy in the pub for years where people are going, stop talking, because you're seemingly just digging a hole deeper and deeper. But you're enjoying digging that hole deeper.
No, it's cringe. There's funny digging in the hole, and then there's also like, oh, mate.
Well, Bill Burr's a master of it. He is actually like the number one comic in the world.
Maybe I need to see a different one.
There's loads.
Good.
There's loads, but he is an angry ginger.
No, I agree with that. I really enjoyed his last one. This one, I'm not sure. Like I said, there were parts I was proper chortling, but then there was also parts I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about it.
I'm not sure that people watching this are just expecting you to just sit there just laughing, though, because like that is an offensive, close to the bone comedy bit.
Very.
So there's nothing up with finding.
And why
points
is it
of
in both
shocking.
of them? Has he talks about Brianna as well? Like
it's like Family Guy with Nazis and Hitler.
Yeah.
Just check out how many times they mention Hitler in Family Guy.
True.
But yeah, I don't think like people aren't expecting you to just sit there and just be like absolutely pissing yourself laughing. Authentic at the end of the day, and if you're shocked by something, that's okay. If you're offended by something, that's okay.
But I don't like the fact of being offended. Like I don't feel offended. It's just some of the things I just very disagree heavily with.
You're allowed to be offended by stuff. It's not just because comedy, everything is fair game in my eyes, doesn't mean I can't find something offensive.
Yeah, because if you
it
laugh
just means
at,
I can't be a
it's
Karen
like you and I
about
have
it.
just like talked about it. Like if you laugh at one thing that's offensive to someone, you can't then take offense to what someone else says because you've already laughed at something that's offensive to someone else. I agree with that.
But sometimes instinctually you just hear something that is offensive and you're offended.
Yeah.
It just doesn't mean you have a right to say that doesn't deserve to be said or whatever.
No, I think
you just take the punch and you just move on to the next one.
I think this is why, like, I've always preferred comedy like Lee Evans or like
Bill Burr's it for me. Like that level of comedy, just
like Eddie Izzard,
angry, ranting. I mean, he's got loads. It's not all him just bashing women.
I know that. Okay.
Right, let us know what you thought of that in the comment section. Which ones does Ash need to see next?
And do you want me to react to any more of this? I don't know. Maybe you'd like to see me uncomfortable.
That's part of it. It's just as long as you're being genuine about whatever you're doing.
I can't not be genuine. It just...
If you were sat there just slapping your leg, just absolutely pretend pissing yourself at everything he said, I'd switch off. I'd be like, fuck that, that's fake.
Well, I was being fake because you know how I laugh.
I'd call you out on the fact that you're being fake as well.
Well,
and
that's
I hope
it.
you do that for me.
It's like, why are you laughing? Why are you finding that so funny?
There you go. Right then. Heavily requested. I hope you got what you wished for with that.
What you were expecting.
Yeah.
My reaction to be. I don't know.
Everyone knows how I feel about Bill Burr, so this is all about you.
I maybe need another one.
There's loads. So there's I keep wanting to say a couple of them, but there's just so many classics out there that we'll get to them. Let us know in the comment section. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff as usual, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.